Well, folks, here we are again for the weekly forecast. During this past week, the big weather maker was that system that moved out of the Rockies and did generate some snowfall across south central, southeast, and east central Nebraska. We had predicted 2 to 5 inches. It's pretty much what fell in line for most of the region. There were some isolated pockets where we hit up to 6, 7 inches. It's very light, fluffy snow, easy to remove, not a lot of water content with it. As you move toward the northwest of this prime area of the snowfall, precipitation totals dropped off rather dramatically. We did see the cold air remaining entrenched across eastern Nebraska for the better part of the midweek period before we started to see the warm temperatures building in as we got into Thursday. Western Nebraska see the warm air build in just a day or so earlier. So from the standpoint of the model forecast, we were just a little under what the actual temperatures were during the midweek and farther period, but I'd rather be wrong on the cold side and see the temperatures come above the forecast in regards to this Arctic outbreak than to be overplaying the degree of warmness and it means to be too cool. What we do have in store for us for this next week is an impending storm system that looks like it's going to roll into the central plains as we get into late next week and has the potential to create a lot of difficulty in terms of snowfall and cold air, especially considering it'll be the weekend before the holidays. So let's take a look at the upper air models and see what we can expect as we go through this next 7-day period. And as we go to the upper air charts, what we'll see is the main troughing pattern is now established over the Great Lakes. The cold front that came through yesterday is going to keep us in a northwest flow aloft and at the surface, so we're going to have some cool conditions today, primarily 20s in northeast Nebraska to potentially the freezing mark across western Nebraska. A little bit more warmer air builds in as this ridge tries to encroach into our region, so we should shift our temperatures up a good 5 degrees to possibly 10 degrees in some locations. The warmest temperature will be across western Nebraska. We'll probably get close to the freezing mark across northeast Nebraska. As we get into Monday, what we will notice is that ridge even builds in farther and we should see temperatures that might approach the 50-degree mark across portions of western Nebraska and particularly southwest Nebraska. In northeast Nebraska, we'll probably push in the upper 30s. As we go into Tuesday, we'll see that another trough tries to make its way to the Great Lakes. It might shove a little bit of cooler air into northeast Nebraska, a little bit of Arctic air, but western Nebraska should still stay well above the freezing mark in terms of high temperatures. As we get into Wednesday, that system tries to depart and another system is going to be coming into the Pacific Northwest as we get into Thursday, and by Thursday you can see that system starting to dig down rapidly across the western United States. It's going to dig out a big deep trough and then that's going to shift toward the east. It's going to allow enough Gulf moisture to get into our region to really supersize this storm. So by the time we get to Friday, here's this big trough, large mountain snows on Friday. That will start to shift out into the plains and we could see some significant accumulations, particularly in the northwestern half of the state in the Arctic air. With snow to ratios of 20 to 1, would not be surprised that we see anywhere from 6 to 12 inches with heavier amounts in southeast as we progress through the weekend. So we take a look at the forecast. The temperatures will slowly warm through the midweek period. Then we get that Arctic front on Wednesday coming through, and then we see the big snowstorm on Friday. The 8 to 14-day forecast continues the cold weather through Christmas. And in terms of precipitation, with that big storm lasting through Sunday, we are expecting a broad area of above normal moisture across the northern plains.